Our good friend Scott Griffin out of Birmingham, Alabama. Scott, at the beginning of the season, you would think a big matchup with Ty Simpson, Garrett Nussmeier, Brian Kelly, Kayleen DeBoer. This might be a top 5 matchup. Here we are, LSU playing their first game after firing their head coach. Alabama absolutely on a roll here. What's your overall general consensus of Alabama LSU not feeling the same this year?
It definitely doesn't feel the same, as you guys know, for obvious reasons. However, something's gnawing at me, telling me that it's going to be the same as far as a close, hard-fought game.
Okay.
I think they've gravitated toward Frank Walton, the interim coach. I think he's gone in there and simplified things. I think the players weren't crazy about Brian Kelly. You saw Nussmeier's reaction last week when he took him out of the game. There just wasn't a like there.
Right.
And so I think, and then they obviously have talent. So, Nussmeier hasn't played to whatever his capabilities are. There he is.
Yeah.
And he's 10th in the SEC in passing yards. He's got 1,800 yards. That cat right there is like 3rd or 4th. So I think he's 3rd.
Right.
Ty Simpson. So not the yards mean anything, but Nussmeier was supposed to be possibly a Heisman candidate, and he's not even close.
Yep.
So I got a sneaky feeling that this one's going to be closer than they think in a pretty difficult game.
Absolutely, and you teed my next question up perfectly with the Heisman, because it's actually Ty Simpson who's the Heisman Trophy guy that can have another Heisman moment in this primetime game against LSU. 8 weeks through the season, going through the bye week last week, what do you make of what Ty Simpson is, and do you think that he has another level where he can be, like you said, the Heisman Trophy winner and all that going into the final part of the season?
Well, I think, if he continues on the path he's going, he's definitely going to be in New York.
Yes.
Could he win the Heisman? Certainly he could, but he'll definitely be in New York. And I just saw something again today. Pro Football Focus has him as the #1 choice in the NFL draft. I think he's that too. I think he's a coach's son. He thinks the game. We've seen him make great plays where he scrambles and then pitches it right over the head to like a Daniel Hill or somebody going down the sidelines. So he makes plays with his legs, with his eyes, and with his mind. And I think he's really, really good at that. And obviously sitting for, 3 years has helped him. He's got a good arm. He makes all the throws. He has escapability. He's a leader.
Yeah.
All the corny things that we say about quarterbacks, he checks all the corny boxes for sure.
Scott, when we were watching this game against South Carolina before the open week, it was definitely one of Alabama's weaker games since the opening loss. Are you chalking that up to just you can't get up for every game and they were desperately trying to limp into the bye, or is there a little bit of a concern there moving forward?
I think it's, me personally, it's more so the former of what you're talking about. It's such a daunting schedule.
Yes.
That's the only one that wasn't in the top 25 of the 5-week stretch, right? And it's on the road, and South Carolina's playing better. Of course, they fired Mike Shula right after that, so their offense wasn't gelling very well. But I just think it was a difficult circumstance. Let's be honest. There may not be parity in college football, but it's a lot closer now because you can't pay everybody. We had this thinking, right, that the rich get richer, and they do because they're going to get the best players, but they can't pay everybody. They've got a budget.
Right.
So now all these other schools can pay. So there's players everywhere. And this is just a personal opinion. I think they got a little cute on offense. This Caden Proctor lining up from the 3.
Right.
He's not used to running the ball. What if somebody takes his knees out? Because that's how I'm tackling him. That wouldn't be pretty.
Right.
And he's your best run blocker, but you decided to take him off the line to put him at tailback. It's gotten cute now.
You're right.
Stop it.
Right.
Stop it. Let him play offensive tackle. It was cool for a couple of plays. Be done with it. Let's run the offense.
I agree with you. I thought that they were starting to drink their own Kool-Aid on just the creativity of the whole offense and putting Proctor in there. And it felt like you said, at first it felt creative and, okay, make your opponent have to, address something different. And then now, like you said, it's gotten to where it's kind of almost counterintuitive to what you do the best.
Yeah. I mean, we gave him a taste of it, right? So he should be happy. We don't have to run 2 plays every game for him, I don't think, right? So, and when I say we, I'm talking about like you're on the coaching staff. So
right.
That's a little cute for my blood, and they need to figure that out. They got to get the running game going still, but at least they have the attempts, as we've talked about all year. And I still think the attempts are important to getting that 34.4 points. Their rushing yards, as you see, is not great, but it's not completely horrible. And the attempts to get the rushing yards, you still have to respect the attempts.
Right.
So far it's working. We'll see.
Absolutely. We got a chance to hear from Coach Kalen DeBoer about this rivalry, Alabama and LSU, here in November.
Well, this is going to be a physical game. It was last year. I think it always has been. That's the tradition here. You can see what their team is made up of. It's physical players. I think they got elite skill, both offensively and defensively, whether it's coverage or being able to win on the perimeter and the running backs as well. So, this rivalry goes way back. You do the introduction with our team and talk about I think it was 1895, if I remember right, doing the research, and that's a lot of games that have happened between these two schools, and so we're looking at this as one of those rivalry games that I was told much about when I first got here. So it's going to be, again, a great environment, a lot of pride, both for our program and theirs as well.
Scott, the first college football playoff committee rankings came out earlier this week, and Alabama was in the top 4 and would have a first-round bye if the playoffs were to start right now. Could you see Alabama running the table the rest of the way and still getting that first-round bye?
Yeah, I think this week is daunting a little bit. Yeah. The next week, Oklahoma has an off week to prepare for Alabama, but it is at Alabama. So Alabama's, they're favored and will be because they're at home virtually the rest of the season, correct? Right. 3 straight at home, and then Auburn. They don't have to leave the state. That works in their favor. But Oklahoma and LSU will be daunting, and who knows about Auburn? Normally they're daunting anyway because it's a rival game. If they get some confidence in their next couple of games, that could be really big, and that's going to be at Auburn. So if you made me say, I think they win out and they're at least in the top 4. If you made me say it.
Right.
That's not without taking some caution, though.
Yeah. And I think that's actually, that's actually my prediction there as well. And I think that's actually what's going to play out. One more final football thing before we move over to basketball. I think, Scott, since the last time we have talked to you, the only SEC job that was open was Arkansas. Since then, we've gotten Florida, we've gotten LSU, and the latest now, the Auburn Tigers. If you can, put a bow on what you've seen overall with the college football coaching carousel, how early it is right now, and how we're seeing coaches get fired a lot earlier right now in this carousel, and what jobs and the timing of all this as far as getting their replacements.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting, right? We all know Lane Kiffin will have the biggest opportunity if he wants it. Personally, I think he would be nuts to take any of these because in the older days, there was a difference between, and this will get me in trouble as usual, between Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and then Ole Miss, LSU, whatever.
Right.
He's 6th in the country at Ole Miss.
Yes.
So you're gonna go somewhere to do what exactly? Pay you more? I think he's in the top 5 and getting paid.
Right.
You're going to have a chance to win more, or you're winning at Ole Miss. So this new age of moving to a program because I grew up wanting to be the ex-coach, I don't know if that's going to be a factor. If I were betting, I would say he's staying put at Ole Miss. We'll see.
Yeah.
Now, what does that do? I mean, coaching's so crazy. To your point, Gerhard. James Franklin's a candidate for jobs, and he was just fired at Penn State.
Yes.
Why in the world would Auburn hire a fired coach?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. And that's no disrespect to him. I think he's a good coach. He just didn't get it completely done at Penn State. So it's going to be interesting to see which one wins out. You could argue Auburn's a great job. You could argue Florida might be the best job. LSU's got all the talent in the state, but look at the pressure. They fired the last before Brian Kelly, they fired the last 3 coaches and
Right.
they won national titles.
Right.
I mean, wow.
Exactly.
So, but is it a good job? Yeah. Can they pay? Sure. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all shakes out. They all can't hire the one hot guy.
Right.
To your point, we haven't seen this many big time jobs open in a while.
In a long time. Yeah. In a long.
I do think
time.
Auburn. I do have an opinion on Auburn. I think they need to stay away from the cutesy play caller. They're paying the last 3 to not coach, over $50 million combined. So they need the Pat Dye, Tommy Tuberville, my opinion again.
Yeah.
Defensive-minded, tough guy. And I think Summerall, Brent Key, and Clark Lee would be my 3. But again, Clark Lee might go, I'm the king at Vandy. He was number 9, right, before loss. They were number 9 in America. You don't have to go anywhere to do that damage.
Exactly. And I'm with you. I think Auburn's next coach needs to be a little bit more what kind of style of coach you have to get, more CEO, and like you said, more of a hard-nosed guy that'll be like Pat, that'll be like Pat Dye, and really set more of a culture than like a cutesy play caller like a Ben Johnson or whoever the case is that is kind of like the next scheme guy.